Hello and welcome to Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley Caronia. If you're watching on X or on Facebook right now, hello, welcome to the show. I would urge you to come over to Rumble. Rumble.com/Hayley will bring you to the Bongino Report channel, which is where you can watch Nightly Scroll in full. Because if you're watching on X or on Facebook, you're only going to get a little bit, and the best parts are at the end. I've got Scott Bryson, former Secret Service agent, on deck. Tonight, we're going to go through some holiday scams to be careful of and so much more. So make sure you're coming over to Rumble to watch the show. And hello to everyone in the chat who's already made the good decision to come on over. But of course, if you can't catch us live at 6 p.m. Eastern time, you can always catch us on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get your show, it helps. So make sure that you tell a friend about a show. Yesterday I was hosting for Vince, and tomorrow I will be on the radio show. So if you want to listen to that, I would appreciate it. I'll be there as well. And then tomorrow night, I've got a great interview with a mental health professional who is blowing the lid off of the transgender lunacy. So that's going to be a can't miss interview. So tune in for all of that. We will be dark on Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving. But White House holiday festivities have kicked off this week. Melania Trump, First Lady, welcomed the Christmas tree yesterday. And that's also when the two turkeys who were set to be pardoned also arrived in D.C. The National Thanksgiving Turkey Presentation is the ceremony that takes place now at the White House every year, the week leading up to Thanksgiving. So it took place today. And this is one of my favorite White House traditions. I think it's so cute. It's so wholesome. And the President of the United States is presented with a live domestic turkey by the National Turkey Federation. And they usually present him with a male or two. They usually pardon two turkeys of the broad-breasted white variety. And this tradition started in the 40s. And when it started in the 40s, it was a little dark because the turkeys that were presented to the president were usually slaughtered and then eaten for Thanksgiving dinner. But then starting in the 70s, they began to pardon the turkeys, which is much more wholesome, much more kid and family friendly. And the whole purpose of the pardon is to save them from being slaughtered and eaten on Thanksgiving dinner. So it is customary that the two turkeys that are pardoned each year stay the night at the Willard Intercontinental Hotel in D.C. across from the White House. That's where they await their pardoning ceremony. Pretty nice. You know, if illegal immigrants can get hotel rooms, free hotel rooms in this country, the least we can do is put up the turkeys that are going to be pardoned the next day in the Rose Garden. So that happened earlier today. Here are some pictures of these turkeys in the hotel room the night before. It's a nice room. It's a very nice room. If we can take a look here, look at them kikiing on the floor, and they're bouncing on the bed like monkeys on the bed. Here they are getting their close-up shots. And of course, it's crazy. You know, I went to Fairfield University and we had turkeys all over campus. And they were not the white-breasted turkey variety. They were the brown turkey that we know and love, the iconic, what you think of when you think of a turkey, like the brown turkeys. These white turkeys are gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. But the White House social media team introduced this year's turkey in the style of the hit reality show Love Island. Look at this.
Tomorrow, 2 new eligible turkeys enter the coop looking for love. Meet Gobble, 52 pounds of golf-loving and Bojangle biscuit-eating energy, living out his signature motto, always under par, never undercooked. And meet Waddle, the Wolfpack hype bird, fueled entirely by sweet potatoes and cheerwine floats. 2 birds ready to ruffle some feathers in the coop. Tune in tomorrow to see what happens next.
All right, so obviously the White House social media team having a little fun with some pop culture there. But, you know, when I hosted Vince yesterday, we had White House correspondent for the Daily Wire, Mary Margaret Olahan, on the show, and she said that the names of the turkeys are chosen by the public every year, which I didn't know. This year's turkeys, as we just saw in the video, are Waddle and Gobble. But in previous years, they had Peach and Blossom, Chocolate and Chip, Peanut Butter and Jelly, Peas and Carrots, Drumstick and Wishbone, Tot and Tater, Cobbler and Gobbler, Pecan and Pumpkin, Flyer and Fryer, Liberty and Freedom, just to name a few of those iconic duos. And the National Turkey Federation will take Gobble and Waddle back to North Carolina, and they're going to go to the North Carolina State University Department of Poultry Science in Raleigh, North Carolina. So after their pardon, they're going to go back, and I guess students will study them, and they'll live in peace forever. They never have to worry about becoming Thanksgiving dinner ever again. But before they go back to North Carolina, they've got a big day at the White House today. So Waddle joined the White House press corps in the briefing room with White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt earlier today. Look at this.
Oh, want to give us a gobble?
I mean, right on cue there.
Very on message. He spreads the turkey gospel.
Spreading the turkey gospel is what Caroline Leavitt said there, but right on cue. You know, this turkey knows business. He knows exactly, you know, the comedic timing was just on par. But, you know, let's get to the good part, right? President Trump, this was a stand-up comedy special, if I've ever seen one. We all know that President Trump is funny, but this was some of his best work. So before he pardoned the turkeys, Waddle and Gobble from this year, he re-pardoned the turkeys from last year's pardon because those, according to President Trump, were null and void. Here's why.
Two handsome Thanksgiving turkeys, and this is their lucky day. This is a lucky day for them. But before going any further, I want to make an important announcement because you remember last year, after a thorough and very rigorous investigation by Pam Bondi and all of the people at Department of Justice, the FBI, the CIA, the White House Counsel's Office, and the Department of Everything. We have a Department of Everything. You know what that is? I think that's called the White House. Into a terrible situation caused by a man named Sleepy Joe Biden. He used an auto pen last year for the turkey's pardon. So I have the official duty to determine, and I have determined that last year's turkey pardons are totally invalid, as are the pardons of about every other person that was pardoned other than, where's Hunter? No, Hunter's was good. That was the one pardon, Pam, that was good, right? The rest of them are all invalid. I don't know what the hell you're going to do about that, but now we're going to take a little of the joking. That is a mess. But they're hereby null and void. The turkeys known as Peach and Blossom last year have been located, and they were on their way to be processed, in other words, to be killed. But I have stopped that journey, and I am officially pardoning them, and they will not be served for Thanksgiving dinner.
All right, so President Auto Pen Biden, obviously, according to President Trump, used the auto pen, and those pardons were null and void, and now President Trump swoops in to save the day. But here he is pardoning Waddle and Gobble, and again, right on cue. They gobble right on cue. Watch this.
Anyway, are you ready? Gobble, I just want to tell you this, very important. You are hereby unconditionally pardoned.
I like how I like the noise that came out of President Trump. I don't know if he was trying to imitate the turkey's gobble, but again, right on cue. And Don Jr. posted this on X, obviously poking the fun at the fact that whenever his dad does anything, you know, these activist judges have to swoop in and reverse everything he does. So Donald Trump Jr. posted this on X earlier. How long till a leftist federal judge reverses the turkey's pardons? And honestly, I would not be shocked if someone did that. But then the president, he joked about maybe naming the turkeys instead of Waddle and Gobble after some of his least favorite Democrats. Listen to this.
Names of Gobble and Waddle. When I first saw their pictures, I thought we should send them, I shouldn't say this. I was going to call them Chuck and Nancy. But then I realized I wouldn't be pardoning them. I would never pardon those two people. I wouldn't pardon them. I wouldn't care what Melania told me. Darling, I think it would be a nice thing to do. I won't do it, darling.
I think it's so funny. And I love hearing the turkeys gobbling in the background too. It's just, it's a comedy sketch. This whole thing is a comedy sketch. But this year's turkeys are some of the biggest that they've ever had. They're over 52 pounds. But POTUS ensures that they are Make America Healthy Again approved. Listen to this.
These are two of the largest turkeys ever presented to an American president, over 50 pounds each. It's the largest we've ever had. And those are big turkeys. Are they as good as the normal-sized turkey? Better or as good? Do they tend to be a little fatty, maybe? No, he said no. He knows the turkey business. Anyway, despite their size, Secretary Kennedy has formally certified that these are the first ever Maha turkeys. I don't know if I agree with that. These are Maha. In other words, they could be fat, but they're still Maha. They've been fattened on a steady diet of grass, beef, to allow the smoothies and all of the other things that they've been eating for this occasion. This was a really big occasion, but they've eaten every fattening food that you can eat. We wanted to really make them special, and they really are. They're like record-setting. I've never seen a turkey that big before.
I mean, 52 pounds is huge. That's really big.
How many people does that feed?
I don't know. You know, I've never cooked a turkey before for Thanksgiving, but someone in the chat said Pritzker turkeys, which brings me to my next video because Governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, you know, he's on the larger side. But President Trump, he would never make fun of his body. Watch this.
Cases, granting mercy, discovering that the terrible trauma that everyone's going through. And I had a little bit of a Pritzker joke. I was going to talk about Pritzker in size, but when I talk about Pritzker, I get angry because he's not letting us do the job. So I'm not going to tell my Pritzker joke. They have a very cute little joke, you know. Some speechwriter wrote some joke about his weight, but I would never want to talk about his weight. I don't talk about people being fat. I refuse to talk about the fact that he's a fat slob. I don't mention it. On a more serious note, as we gather around the dinner table, I'd like to lose a few pounds too, by the way.
I love how he brings it back around. He's like, I don't like to talk about people's weight. I'm trying to lose some weight myself. I love it. It's just very funny. All right, I've got Scott Bryson here for Tactical Detail. In just a moment, we're going to break down some of the holiday scams that you should stay aware of this holiday season. But first, Birch Gold. It's the one time of the year that Birch Gold Group gives away free gold with every qualifying purchase. That's right. For Black Friday, when you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, Birch Gold will send free gold to your home for every $20,000 purchase. Look, gold started this year around $2,600 an ounce. By October, it was over $4,000 an ounce. Why is that? Global uncertainty. 2025 has been defined by trade wars, the central banks are pulling from the US dollar as global reserve currency, and military tension still continues to build. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty, and if you're looking to diversify your savings, Birch Gold can help you. Plus, now through November 28th, get free gold with a qualifying purchase. Just text SCROLL to 989898 to claim your eligibility for a free info kit on gold. But your opportunity for free gold with that purchase ends November 28th. So don't wait. Text SCROLL to the number 989898 for full details. Message and data rates apply. Also want to tell you about Blackout Coffee. Let's talk about real convenience without sacrificing quality. You already know I'm a huge fan of Blackout Coffee, but if you're like me and you need that caffeine fix fast in the morning, their coffee pods are a total game changer, and they are running a Black Friday deal right now, so make sure that you head to blackoutcoffee.com/scroll. These are not your average grocery store pods, Blackout pods. They are packed with fresh roasted bold coffee made right here in Florida, and they work with those single-serve pod brewers. So it's going to make your morning fast and easy, and you're going to have a delicious cup of coffee. Can't start your day better than that. I love all the flavors that they have. I love the cinnamon one, peppermint mocha for the Christmas season coming up. It's not bitter. It's not stale. You just pop in one of the coffee pods, and boom, you've got a strong, smooth cup of coffee in just seconds. So if you're racing out the door, juggling kids, jumping into back-to-back calls, Blackout is your new morning lifesaver. The best part is they ship nationwide, so no matter where you live, you can have Florida fresh coffee at your door in days. Head to blackoutcoffee.com/scroll or use code SCROLL at checkout for their Black Friday special. All right, without further ado, Scott Bryson is here for Tactical Detail. All right, Scott, this segment is a little different from what we've done in the past. Normally, we're talking about threats where you have to stay, in this condition yellow, which it can apply to Black Friday. Black Friday used to be way scarier, right? When I was growing up, the Black Friday deals were, 80% off and something. I don't know if it's shrinkflation or what's going on, but Black Friday deals are like 30% off, something small, right? So maybe people aren't going to be bracing the crowds like normal, but it's not just Black Friday. It's a lot of these holiday events. Just this weekend, a Christmas tree lighting in Chicago turned into a riot. It was dangerous. A dozen teenagers were shot. We've seen this over the years. Terrorists target Christmas markets and they plow their car through crowds. And, obviously this week with Black Friday deals, that also draws big crowds. So what should people look for if they are at a Christmas concert, a Christmas lighting, or in these stores like a mall, for instance, for Black Friday? How do you stay safe in those situations?
Yeah, well, for me, just don't go. But I know that's not really an answer. I was always happy to stay home with the kids and do daddy daycare while mama went out and did her thing. But no, I think what you have to do if you want to go to those things, by all means, you should go do that stuff. I mean, to your point about the Christmas tree lighting thing in Chicago, it happened in my hometown of Concord, North Carolina, which is where I started my career as a police officer. And to talk about a sleepy little town, it's basically the polar opposite of Chicago. So anywhere there's people, there's the opportunity because people are bad. I mean, if you believe in the Bible says no one is good. So it's like, I think there's varying degrees of bad, obviously. But you just have to go to these things. You have to, like we talk about on your show all the time, the color codes of awareness, being conditioned yellow, play the, if this, then that game. If this happens, then that. So you have to have an avenue of escape is what I like to call it. Mm-hmm. Ingress, egress, all those things. But when you're in a crowd and people are supposed to be having fun, their face should tell a story. And if someone's not happy and they may have a scowl or they may be alone, you can't necessarily go based off of just demographics alone because there's a melting pot of people in America, right? But if it's mostly family oriented and you have military age men type guys, and that could be white men, Middle Eastern, black, brown, whatever, just an average man hanging out by himself or maybe with a couple of guys might be weird. It might not be, but I think just being situationally aware and kind of being attuned to your environment is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe just to stay on the outskirts. I know people want to be right where all the action is happening, but certainly when people want to do harm to people, certainly terrorists, they have this mentality to cause as much chaos as humanly possible. So they'll target where all the people are standing or all the people are gathering. So it's just something to think about, unfortunately. I know the holiday season, we want to be happy and excited, but these are the things we have to think about now. But if you are going to Black Friday in store and you want to search for some of these deals, here are some scams to look for. I saw this video and it turns out that companies, this was Target last year, they are hiding some of the real prices, and the real prices turn out to be exactly the same as their Black Friday prices. Look at this. So here's a girl, she's pulling out the Black Friday deal, and underneath it is the regular sale price, which was $649.99. She's going to go over to another item, $429 sale. That's also the Black Friday deal price.
I don't get it.
That's a deal?
No deals, really.
Yeah.
Okay, this one?
$449,
It's the same.
Bro, that's not a deal.
$329, and the Black
I don't get
Friday
it.
sale.
I'm confused.
Same price. So, these companies, they're just, this is obviously, you're not going to get hurt if this happens to you in the store, but just something to look at.
Yeah, no, it's a retail psyop is what it is. You know, it's like we have to have a good deal. I mean, want to have versus need to have. I mean, I like nice things too. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't like a good deal, but I think you just have to look at the totality of the circumstances. Is this something that I need, or is this something I want? And if you do want it, by all means. A lot of these stores now are doing Black Friday starts in earlier in November. So, and of course, with the advent of the internet and all this good stuff, Black Friday is not quite as crazy
Right.
as it used to be in terms of like what you were saying a minute ago in the box store, but it's bled over into the ether, and now the scams are on the internet, which could be even worse, actually.
Yeah, so let's, before we get to the internet, because we've got the Black Friday, now people are not so much going into the stores, but they're ordering stuff online to get shipped to their house. And as we know, porch pirates are a huge problem. This has been a problem for a few years now, but now they're ramping up. And on Long Island, I think this is in Melville, Long Island, there's a ring of porch pirates, and they're in cahoots maybe with FedEx and some other shipping companies. Let's take a look at this.
The efficiency of these alleged porch pirates seemed uncanny. Over a 2-year investigation, there were times it seemed like they were waiting for the FedEx delivery person to arrive. And just their luck, across more than 30 towns in Suffolk County, they seemed to only be there for cell phones being delivered or other expensive electronics. The coincidence raised eyebrows.
We saw clearly a pattern developing with the cell phone, so we decided to investigate that pattern.
On Monday, the Suffolk County DA's office announced the takedown of a sophisticated porch pirate ring. 14 defendants indicted, the ringleader from the Bronx, where the stolen phones from Suffolk County would allegedly end up, then to be resold on the black market, domestically and internationally.
They had the technological ability to unlock the phones and utilize them either as internet devices or communication devices or both.
While authorities have now charged 14 people as part of this sophisticated ring, they say they are still working on rooting out how it is that the group came by such insider information from FedEx, the tracking information of these electronics.
So I think we need to be careful now that you have to be careful in store. Then if you ship it home, you also have to be careful. But if you're buying a high ticket item, something that's expensive, something that is sought after, like a cell phone or an iPad or a computer, something of that sort, maybe it's better to go in store than have it shipped to your house.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, again, I don't like going out in public to big box stores and things like that if I don't have to, but occasionally you do, like if you need a TV or a laptop, or I've never gotten a phone through Amazon. I mean, Amazon's great, but there's something about going into the store and transferring your data and picking it out and touching it and feeling it and picking out the case. I mean, I think when it comes to electronics, I think there's a time and a place for everything. And I think going to these stores is the way to go. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, so with these porch pirates, the next video that we have is someone who was at home when a porch pirate tried to steal some packages on the porch. So this is what this guy did. We'll take a look at it.
It's been viewed over 800,000 times and counting.
I just didn't want nobody to take him, bro.
Carlos Mejia coming out of his Queens home, bat in hand, yelling at a would-be porch pirate.
I wasn't thinking. At the moment, it was just anger. I wanted to hurt him, but I know that if I hit him, I would have been in trouble.
Mejia says he and his wife have been victims of porch pirates dozens of times. Just last Wednesday, his camera caught a man stealing a package with sneakers off their porch. To try to catch that thief, Mejia says he put out a decoy package. It wasn't the same man who stole the sneakers, but 36-year-old Victor Stazone. At one point, video shows Stazone trying to get away, but he was arrested for stealing and trespassing.
Today it was me with a bat. Somebody else can pull out a shotgun and not be as nice as I was.
This porch pirate was lucky that he had a bat. He wasn't afraid to use it, but he didn't. Are there other ways to deter a porch pirate?
Yeah, I'm just thankful this man had some situational awareness and some self-control, because two wrongs don't make a right, even though it might feel good in the moment. He would, in this crazy world that we live in, he would be the one going to jail instead of the other guy, But I think you just have to, do what you can. Like he had a doorbell camera up. That's going to be more for evidence purposes than probably stopping the crime. You would think once upon a time, CCTV and things like that would cause people to like take a tactical pause and maybe rethink it. But they're so brazen nowadays. I don't think people really care. I'm not sure there's a whole lot you can do other than what, maybe pick out your windows of time when you're going to maybe be at home or for deliveries. Like I know my wife has ordered stuff before from Amazon and she's like, oh, it could be here at 4:00 in the morning. I'm like, nope. If someone comes up my driveway at 4:00 in the morning, I'm not going to remember that you ordered Amazon. It's going to be a problem for somebody. So it's like, maybe picking out the best time of the day, is when you're at home and not 4:00 in the morning when your husband's asleep, So.
Right. Absolutely. Good things to think about. Scott Bryson, thank you so much for being here. Host of the Beyond the Service podcast, Silverlock contributor. Always appreciate your tidbits.
Have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. All right. Now, I've got some more headlines for you. And Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, this is a video from yesterday. I know I kicked off the show with all the Thanksgiving hubbub from today, but yesterday, Caroline Leavitt, she handed it to April Ryan, a liberal journalist here yesterday who was just yapping and yapping and yapping. Look at this.
As possible. Caroline, is the president more determined to go after Tish James and James Comey? Go ahead. Is the president more determined to go after Tish James and James Comey? Excuse me. I'm answering a question from you. You turned and looked at me. I'm sorry. I turned and looked at you because you're yelling. I will take a question from your colleague and then I'll take your question too. Okay? Go ahead.
What are exactly the...
Listen. I went to April Ryan's X feed yesterday just to see if she had said anything about this incident, and she did. She said, oh, well, you're supposed to yell questions at the press secretary. Yes, yell questions at the press secretary. And then when she is in the middle of answering a question for someone else, shut up. Seriously, it is so rude. You all know my golden rule. Sit down and shut up. You have to know when that's appropriate. Just because you're a reporter in the White House press corps doesn't mean that you get to just shout stuff all the time. I mean, you have to know your place. How rude is it that Caroline Leavitt is trying to answer a question and you hear yapping from the other side? Oh, well, you looked at me. Yeah, I'm looking at you because you're screaming. You see things like this, and all of a sudden, President Trump's quiet piggy comment when he was on Air Force One makes total sense. It makes total sense because if something like this happened to me and I was in Caroline Leavitt's shoes, I would say something a lot worse than quiet piggy, I can tell you that. I don't know how, President Trump, he said quiet piggy, right? I don't know how Caroline does it, but she remains so poised all the time, so professional. I would fly off the freaking handle. I would fly off the handle. There is no way that I would be able to yap over here. I'd be throwing F-bombs, my annual F-bomb every day. You have to use language with them that liberal feminists understand, right? Kamala Harris always used to do this. Whenever she was speaking, she would remind people that she's speaking. If she was being interrupted, I'm speaking. So maybe next time you just have to beat them with their own game, right? But speaking of liberal feminists, here is Joy Reid, former MSNBC host. Now she's got her own thing. And she was talking to the co-hosts of the I've Had It podcast. And they were being absolutely distasteful in their discussion about grieving widow Erica Kirk and what she's wearing and what she's doing and the rumors swirling about her and Vice President Vance's hug. Listen to this.
Motivates them. So they can't have the successor to MAGA be the guy with the brown Hindu wife. They're also Christian nationalists. That ain't gonna work. That's why he's throwing his wife under the bus.
Yeah.
Poor Usha. Or she's in on it, right? And she's
playing slap and tickle with Erica Kirk's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. Yeah, she's like in her Tammy Faye era.
Okay. Holding on the back of his head and rubbing on his head.
Some weird shit.
Baby. Don't do that to Jason. I'm gonna start thinking something's going on. Why are you holding the back of his head? I'm like, you're not doing that right thing. You're supposed to be a widow. You in leather pants?
It is.
That's not widow wear.
Could you imagine if...
Wouldn't it be the most perfect fairy tale, MAGA fairy tale?
Yeah.
If he finally sees the light that he needs a white queen instead of this brown Hindu? I mean, I'm not saying that's happening.
Right.
Or maybe that Usha's not even in on it. Maybe she's whatever. But that's one entrant. Another entrant is frankly Donald Trump Jr. If he can, keep it together.
first of all, these podcast hosts that I've had at Podcast Host, I don't know if the other one says anything or if she just laughs at the one that looks like a wax figure. But anytime they're on a podcast, they are absolutely vile. They're making comments about Riley Gaines and any Republican woman. They are just lashing out at them. Now, getting into the comments on Erica Kirk, this is a grieving widow. Do you know how vile you have to be to make comments about a grieving widow? They said that it would be a MAGA fairy tale if Vice President Vance left his loving wife for Erica Kirk. How disgusting is this? I mean, truly, so disgusting. Then Joy Reid is saying, well, Erica Kirk can be J.D. Vance's white queen instead of his Hindu wife. Vice President Vance chose to marry his wife, regardless of their differences in religion, because he loves that woman and they are happily married. Erica Kirk has dispelled any rumors saying that she always hugs people like that. The hug was totally taken out of context. And Second Lady Usha Vance is, she forgot her ring at work the other day and literally had to put out a statement saying, yeah, I'm a mom. I'm a mom to young kids. I wash dishes, I change diapers, and I forgot my ring. Okay? And now you have these vile hags on the left that are taking all of this out of context and they're spinning it into this like racism thing. They are the ones obsessed with race. They are the ones who are racist. Vice President Vance is married to Usha Vance. He obviously likes her, obviously loves her, got married to her. He's not looking for a white queen, Joy Reid. They're so race obsessed and they call us racist. It's like you guys are the ones that don't shut up about it. They're constantly thinking about it. Then they're saying, like, they're just using disgusting language like slap and tickle with Erica Kirk and J.D. Vance, that hug, to say it's a slap and tickle. And, oh, Erica Kirk is wearing these black leather pants. Leave her alone. Seriously. This is a grieving widow. I'm sure every day is hell for her. Literally hell on earth. And she is so gracious. And when she does interviews, all she talks about is how much she misses her husband, her loving husband, and how she has to raise their family alone without their dad. This is a grieving woman, and they just can't help themselves but be so disgusting and pick apart their relationship and swirl around all these salacious rumors for clicks, for views. They're gross. They're so gross. And by the way, I posted this on X the other day, or earlier today. Does anyone not remember when Dr. Jill Biden planted one on Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff? I don't know what event it was at, but they literally kissed on the lips. Like, what the heck? No one had anything to say about that. No divorce rumors were swirling, nothing. When it comes to a grieving widow, or if it's a Republican woman, all bets are off. They just lose all decorum. Anything goes with them. But we have to talk about this trans issue because on the left, I mean, nothing matters anymore. Up is down, left is right, women are men are women, whatever. And in Deep Blue, Philadelphia, a man took the crown as the world's strongest woman. This person, it goes by Jamie Booker, but it's spelled like jammy, by the way. Jammie. That's Gee's cat's name.
That's my cat's name.
Is that how you spell jammy?
That's how I spell it, jammy.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. I'm reading it. I'm like, Jammy Booker? Is it Jammy, or is this a guy pretending to, this is a guy pretending to be a woman. He can't even get the name right.
It's funny because she kind of looks like my cat. My cat is very rotund.
Oh, but don't say that about your cat. That's an insult to your cat.
Is it an insult if it's true?
Yeah.
Is it a guy?
But anyway, this guy from Philadelphia who goes by Jammy, he claims that he's a woman, and he came in first place in the women's open division at the 2025 Strength Official Strongman Games in Arlington, Texas. This happened just a few days ago. And in this next video, you can see this man at the top of the podium, and you can see UK lifter Andrea Thompson next to him, the rightful woman winner, rightfully pissed off. Watch this. This guy is just towering over everyone. She said, "This is bullshit." If you're listening and not watching, because there's subtitles, the video, the audio is a little tough there. But she said, "This is bullshit. Can we go now?" She's rolling her eyes, looking up at this dude towering over everyone else, saying, "This is bullshit." And she stomped off of the podium, and I don't blame her. Now, days later, organizers of this event disqualified Jamie Booker. I'm just going to call him Jamie because I think it looks like Jamie. I'm sure it's Jamie, but I'm not going to give him the respect. It's Jamie Booker.
Yeah, do it. I like it. And he is massive.
I've never seen, this is the biggest man I think I've ever seen. He's
the
like
Dallas
Andre
Cowboys
the Giant.
had a left tackle called Flozell Adams, and they called him Flozell the Hotel because he was literally the size of a city block. This
Huge.
person is bigger.
Okay, so Jamie Booker was disqualified after the organizers found out that he violated the rules. You're not supposed to compete in the opposite sex category. You're not supposed to do that. If you were born male, you have to compete with the males. That's what the organizers said. So this guy, I mean, I don't know if he looks male or female. He looks, I don't know. Just, this is a big person. Now, I'm going to give the organization the benefit of the doubt here because they claim that they didn't know that this dude was a dude. But this dude kind of swindled the organization by saying that he was a man. So then he competed with these women. And, Thompson, Andrea Thompson, who was the woman that was standing next to him on the podium, the one that was rolling her eyes or everything, she has now received the title. For the world's strongest woman, she received the gold, and they restored the placements for all the other female athletes. So here's the statement that they put out in part. We wanted to provide an update on what's happening following the official Strongman Games World Championships 2025. It appears that an athlete who is biologically male, who now identifies as female, competed in the women's open category. Officials were unaware of this fact ahead of the competition and have been urgently investigating since being informed. Which I call BS on this because the woman who came in second, but rightfully first, but she was on the number 2 podium, she clearly knew because she was pissed off in the moment. It doesn't take days to figure out that this dude was a dude. Clearly, the women who were competing against him knew day of. I mean, she's rolling her eyes. She's saying this is bullshit. She's walking off the podium. So if all the women knew, then how did the organization not know? Whatever. I continue with their statement. They said, had we been aware or had this been declared at any point before or during the competition, this athlete wouldn't have been permitted to compete in the women's open category. We are clear. Competitors can only compete in the category for the biological sex recorded at birth. The official strongman is inclusive and do not discriminate against athletes based on personal characteristics. Any athlete is welcome, but it is our responsibility to ensure fairness and ensure athletes are assigned to men or women's categories based on whether they were recorded as male or female at birth. And then they went on to say that they disqualified this Jamie, and Andrea Thompson is now the rightful winner. So I don't know. It kind of pisses me off because this is all too little too late. It's all too little too late. The women in the moment knew. You can't tell me that the organizers didn't know. I'm glad that they were able to right the ship later on and figure out what was going on, but I think they need to figure out who has a penis in their pants before the competition begins. Who cares what you identify as? So if blood tests are required ahead of time for all sporting events in the future, do it then. It's the only way to prevent men from barging into competitions as women because they think that they are women. They're delusional. Up here, they think that they are women, so they don't think that they're breaking any rules. But you can't ignore biology. But over in California, Eric Swalwell, he's running for governor, and he clearly wants to ignore biology and all the issues happening in California locker rooms and bathrooms. But after the situation at Gold's Gym with Tish Hyman, she's not going to let that happen. She confronted him at an event earlier. Watch this.
I will not be a governor that tolerates violence against women in our state. Period. That's not going to happen. Now, as it relates to the issue of trans kids, particularly in sports, sure. Yeah, that's wrong. Harassment, yeah. I'm going to protect women. I did as a prosecutor. I will protect women. No woman should be harassed in any locker room. I'm telling you, no woman should be harassed in a locker room. That's a crime. That's a crime. Yeah.
Okay, so you notice that when confronted, Eric Swalwell said he'd protect women. But he never said that he'd keep trans people out of women's locker rooms. Notice that, because that's important. Because he won't do that. He only said, when Tish Hyman says women are getting harassed in locker rooms, he said, oh yeah, that's bad. Harassment is bad, that's a crime. But he never said, okay, well, let's fix this issue then. Let's remove men from women's locker rooms. He didn't say that. So basically, mentally ill men can still enter the women's locker room in Eric Swalwell's view, as long as they keep their hands to themselves and as long as they don't start berating anyone. But women feeling uncomfortable as they're in a vulnerable state in front of trans women, I guess, is not something that Eric Swalwell will ever take a stance on, because his party will start screeching about trans rights. And as we all know, trans rights, in their view, will always trump women's rights. And I just want to say something about Tish Hyman, because I love that she has been kind of red-pilled on this issue. And not only that, but she is doing things about it, right? She was confronted by this violent trans person in the locker room, and now she's showing up. She's confronting politicians about it. But I will let her know, Democrats are not going to protect women. They're just going to say that they will. And that's the hard lesson in all of this for people who maybe have just started paying attention to politics and they've just started paying attention to the issues that are happening in our culture, specifically about transgenders. The moment you realize that nobody in the government is coming to save you, the better off you'll be. That's the truth. And here's another example of a Democrat that's totally unhinged. We've been covering her antics all week long. It's only Tuesday. We've been covering these antics all week long and last week. But Afton Bain is the Democrat who's running to represent Nashville. And more things just keep coming to light about her, unfortunately for her. And we covered this yesterday. First she said she hated Nashville. Then she doubled down and said that she hates her city. Then all old deleted tweets about her wanting to defund the police came up, and she dodged that question. And now here's a video of her being dragged out of the Tennessee House Gallery in May of 2019. Listen to this. Here she is being dragged out by law enforcement.
Sorry, that was completely unnecessary.
I love how the woman, they're screaming, getting pulled out. And this happened after Afton Bain was reportedly shouting in protest of the former House Speaker, Glenn Casada. So she's, making a whole scene. Law enforcement remove her. And then they're like, hey, that was unnecessary. No, you were unnecessary. You shouting, that was also unnecessary. Also, in this video, I noticed that someone's Chick-fil-A is on the ground as she's getting dragged out. I just want to make sure, is the Chick-fil-A okay? I don't care too much about Afton Bain, but I just want to make sure that the Chick-fil-A is okay. Did anyone check on that? Just making sure. But just more proof that she's a total loon that gets off on virtue signaling. She's the perfect Democrat. All right, Lizzo, she is a used to be very large. She's still large, but she is a large and in charge artist, a singer, a rapper. And now she's complaining that Ozempic is erasing fat people. So she posted this on Substack earlier this week. Why is everybody losing weight? And what do we do? Sincerely, a person who's lost weight. What do we do? What do we do about fat people losing weight? It's horrible.
Work out.
Stay fat. Stay fat. This is what the fat is beautiful community wants. They want everyone to stay fat. You know what they say? Misery loves company. If you're fat and unhealthy, you're going to have people in that community say, no, you're fine. They affirm this stuff. But despite Ozempic allegations, Lizzo wrote in this Substack piece that she lost weight due to severe depression and she suffered with suicidal thoughts. So for that reason, I want to say I'm so sorry. I don't want anyone to go through that. That's horrible. And she said that she feels angry. She feels isolated. And she went on to say this, quote, "So here we are halfway through the decade where extended sizes are being magically erased from websites. Plus size models are no longer getting booked for modeling gigs." I don't know if that's necessarily true. Lizzo also added that when, someone is considered plus size in a modeling sense, they're not actually plus size. She says all of the big girls are not so big anymore because everyone's on Ozempic. So the fat girls are now skinny and the skinny girls are even skinnier, which is even scarier. But she said we have a lot of work to do to undo the effects of the Ozempic boom. She went on to say, "People could not see my talent as a musician because they were too busy accusing me of making being fat my whole personality." Then she said this, which is crazy. "I had to actively work against mammy tropes by being hypersexual and vulgar because being a mammy by definition is being desexualized." So she's literally saying that she had to work extra hard to sexualize herself. To be taken seriously in the music industry? That's a crazy thing to say. It's just a crazy thing to say. Then she said this, and that's the reality that nobody wants to talk about. We're in an era where the bigger girls are getting smaller because they're tired of being judged. The less fat people, the better. The healthier that people are, the better. The more you prioritize fitness and whole foods in your life and stop eating processed stuff, the better off you are. This isn't about vanity. This isn't about sexuality. This is about living as good of a life that you could possibly live. The more you put your health at the forefront, the better quality life you're going to have. So I hope that she gets over this fat erasure issue that she's having, because the healthier that she is and the more weight that she loses, I'm sure her mental health will get even better. Working out fixes my mental health. It's a great outlet. So I hope that she gets better, and I hope that she realizes that healthy is the way to go.
Hey, Hayley, you ever
Maha.
read how in the Victorian ages, the fat women were supposed to be the most attractive one of all? Maybe Lizzo was just born a few centuries too early.
Yeah.
Too late, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, people in during the French Revolution and all that. I mean, the rich people, they got all the cake. They got all the food.
They do have and they were all fat. It was like a symbol of status and beauty of all, yeah.
Someone in the chat just asked, why is Ariana Grande so thin and pale? We're going to get into it because these actors and actresses in Wicked are far too skinny. And, now it's being talked about where you see the pictures, the before and the after of Ariana Grande, of Cynthia Erivo. And now people are wondering, is there a curse on the set of Wicked? Because there was an alleged curse on the set of Wizard of Oz. And, Margaret Hamilton, who played the Wicked Witch, she and her stunt double, they had burns, severe burns they suffered from being on set. Buddy Ebsen, who played the Tin Man, had respiratory issues because they had literal aluminum in the makeup, and there was extreme heat, work hours, all these things. Judy Garland was forced to be on drugs. There was a lot happening on that set. So people say that it was cursed. Also, in the stage theater world, there's a Macbeth curse. People who play in Macbeth say that there is some theatrical superstition about something happening on set. If you play in that show, there are, it's bad luck. There are accidents, there are injuries, people die. So now people are wondering, is the same thing happening on the set of Wicked? Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, they are crying in interviews. I don't know if you've seen their press tour, but the Wicked movie came out in 2 parts. First part, I watched it. It was great. I loved it. It was a great movie. And they're very thin. These girls are very thin. And maybe they're on Ozempic. Maybe it's something else. But they're scary. Very scary looking. And you have to think, there are young girls watching this movie and they're thinking, is this normal? Is this how I should look? We've gotten too far into the Ozempic craze, I think. Very, very thin. Ariana Grande looking very pale, very gaunt. Cynthia Erivo, same thing. And if you see videos and photos of them in years past, they did not always look like this. So is it Ozempic abuse or is it another kind of abuse? I don't know, but you could see Ariana Grande on the right there. This is probably around like 2016, 17, 18, around there. She looked healthy. The photo on the left, I mean, she's unrecognizable. I don't know why she dyed her eyebrows that color. I think she has to be blonde for the movie, so maybe they lightened her eyebrows for that purpose, but something, I mean, she's lost a lot of weight. Same thing with Cynthia Erivo. I don't know if it's drug use beyond Ozempic or what, but they're always crying in their interviews. They're on this press tour promoting the movie, and it is just crazy to see. Look at the before and after. I mean, Cynthia Erivo, she's got these strong arms. She looks very healthy on the left.
Maybe she could even compete with Jamie.
She would take Jamie in a second. No, I'm joking. But seriously, I hope that these women are okay because it's not looking good. And I hope that the little girls who are watching this don't think that this is something to aspire to be, because it's not healthy to be fat. It's not healthy to be too skinny. So, I just hope that they're not looking up to this for inspiration.
And I hope Ozempic is not one of those things. I mean, they tell you it's a lifetime commitment to stay on that for it to do what it does. And
yeah, if you go off of it.
But I mean, this is really startling looking, especially in their hands. You notice the hands get very thin and long fingers, and it's scary. Yeah.
All right, last story before we get into scrolling time. Martha Stewart just did an ad for American Eagle jeans, a la the Sydney Sweeney has great jeans ad. Now they are revamping it with Martha Stewart, and shares are jumping as much as 4% today. Martha Stewart, she's going to be the face of the brand. And, she's 84 years old. They've got her in head-to-toe denim, same as Sydney Sweeney. And they are calling this campaign American Eagle's Give Great Jeans campaign ahead of the holiday season. Give great jeans as a gift. So clearly, you can give your jeans to someone else if you have children with them. But I love that they are doubling down on the Great Jeans campaign. They caught all this backlash with Sydney Sweeney as great jeans, and everyone said, oh, they're promoting fascism and whatever else, right? Because she has blue eyes and blonde hair, and according to leftists, that is fascist. You can't say that blonde hair and blue-eyed people are good looking. But it worked for them.
Martha's 84.
She looks really good for 84.
I mean, I hope I make it to 84.
I know. She looks really, really
Being
good.
in an American Eagle ad at 84, I think's winning.
And she's been on the cover of Sports Illustrated She was on the cover of Sports Illustrated in the last 5 years, and she looked great. And I just absolutely love that American Eagle, after doing Great Jeans and seeing how the left absolutely melted down over it, they're doing it again. Give Great Jeans. Good on them. And you know what? It worked for them. Their sales skyrocketed, and we're seeing that this same thing is happening again. And I will say, Martha Stewart, I think she dyes her hair a little bit, but she's got like a gray blonde going on, but she's got brown eyes. So my question to the leftists is it fascist?
Ain't bad for 84, I don't think, huh?
Huh?
So that ain't bad for 84, I don't think.
She looks gorgeous for 84. I mean, she absolutely looks gorgeous. So I love it. All right, let's get into scrolling time. Look no further than this woman who took to TikTok to say that she just found out that eyeglasses don't have medicine in them.
A lot of the people in my family have and wear glasses. And they always say, oh my gosh, I got to get a new prescription. My medicine ran out and my glasses. Like medicine. I always hear medicine. No! Have you guys seen the eye doctor on here on TikTok who is explaining how glasses work? I am so fascinated. So essentially, eyeglasses are just glasses, like glass that is shaved down to meet the needs of your eyes. The glass is just shaved down in a particular measurement to fit the needs of your eyes. And of course, sunlight, the way light is, comes through that glass to your eyeball, all of that, like it's a science, okay? It's a science and it's math. That's the prescription, the shaving. The shaving is the prescription.
At her big age, she thought that there was medicine in the glasses. How would the medicine get into your body? Through the glasses.
We didn't get that far in the
We
thought
did not
process.
get that far, no. It's just a question. But if you were wondering who she voted for, it wasn't Trump. Look at this.
You would think I just bombed the school. You would think I just admitted that I voted for Trump. You would think I just started a race war. You would think I just took away SNAP benefits for millions of Americans. You would think I just did something so vile and so vicious the way my comments look right now. I've been called everything but my name in those comments. People have called me quite literally an idiot. Said I have zero common sense, have posted memes and gifs of a brain with nothing in it.
Yep. Average Kamala voter. Average Democrat. I love how she's like, you should see this comment section. People are calling me an idiot. Did you know that? People were calling me an idiot. People were saying I had no brain. Anyway, this next is a prank. A prank, and I love pranks, but this one would get me, I think. Watch this. So this is a couple. They're doing some housework. And the person who has the drill runs the drill while touching the back of their partner or their friend with their finger. I mean, this would freak me out. This would get me. This would get me. I would think that I was being drilled, for sure. If someone poked me in the back, what are you doing?
Some of those people took some falls from countertops and everything else. We're lucky we don't have any cracked skulls.
That could be dangerous. That could be really dangerous. Well, this last video, this little girl, if we could play video 25, this little girl, she got hurt, not too badly, but she overreacted just a little bit. Just a little bit. She's screaming, chop my foot off. Chop my foot off. And if you could just bring up the last frame of that video where we could see the damage that was actually done to this little girl. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. She's screaming, chop my foot off. And the parents came on TikTok and explained that they were cleaning it with just some cleaning products, a little bit of hydrogen peroxide, a little
rubbing alcohol. What were they putting on that thing?
Neosporin, but she would rather just chop the foot off.
They try
altogether.
to cauterize it. Like what were they doing to that poor girl?
I don't know. But kids are dramatic and they're funny. So anyway, I just thought that was funny. Thanks for scrolling along with me. Again, you can catch me doing the radio show for Vince tomorrow. So tune in for that. And of course, tune in for Nightly Scroll tomorrow for our last show of the week before Thanksgiving. See you then.